We have actual football to talk about,
Ooh,
finally.
so much football.
So much football. We were just talking about this right before we came on, that it was really hard to even, um, we're definitely not mid-season form in terms of viewership, because we were both feeling overwhelmed
Yeah.
with the number of games. We're used to being able to go back and forth pretty easily and fluidly, but yeah, it's pretty jarring when when you start off the season, you're like, holy shit, there's some great matchups I want to pay
Yeah.
attention to, but then you're realizing, oh man, there's all these other games going on that I'm not fully dialed into. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
a fun Sunday for sure.
Well, it helped a little bit the fact that you had a Thursday night game, a Friday night game,
Yeah.
and then obviously, so that took a little bit, but there's no buys, so like every team is actually there was a moment during that noon window, and then with the Jaguars getting delayed, and then them being kind of like an afternoon window as well, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I really am focused on, you know, Jets Steelers, and then I'm focused on Packers Lions, and then all of a sudden I'm checking the fantasy apps. And I'm going, wait a minute, they're winning, or what a minute, what's going on in that game? And Daniel Jones is doing what? And so it's been really fun the last 48 hours. Yesterday all day, and then today all day whenever I had time. But I watched all of the highlights from every game. The NFL YouTube channel does a great job of like,
Yeah, really
here's the 12,
consolidating.
13-minute highlights of the game. The key about that, though, is they do show the highlights. So you're not getting a lot of the bad plays. They'll show an interception here or there.
Yeah.
So,
But I also feel they include like a 7-yard run, and I
yes.
appreciate that. Like
Yeah.
they'll show you a drive
If it's
if
like a
there
first
are.
down run and things like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to catch up on. And then, you compare it with the box scores. And one of the other things that I like to do is I like to go and search each team's on Twitter. So one of the things that gets you is like a lot of the beat writers for that area, and then they'll show a clip. So I have a couple of things I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting moment there. That was a big, you know what I mean, moment from this specific game that maybe not everyone's talking about or you don't get in the highlights
Sure.
because unless you watch the game completely. Trust me, I'd love for us to both be at one point in time where it's like, no, we watch every game and that's what we do. Um, but regardless, Dan, we got a ton of stuff to get into and a ton of thoughts on the results of these games, including some teams that I'm really surprised the way they looked. Not necessarily surprised they lost, but the way they looked in week one.
Yeah, absolutely. Week 1 recap, the first recap episode of the 2025 NFL season. Let's dive in. Well, you mentioned it, Mark. A lot of interesting games. I thought week 1 delivered already some surprises. Whether you want to say a team that lost surprisingly or a team that won surprisingly, there were some interesting things to kind of pick through. Even teams that lost that I thought looked way better than I anticipated them looking. And we can kind of start there with the Thursday night matchup, first matchup of the 2025 NFL season. Eagles beating the Dallas Cowboys 24-20. And I mean, the Cowboys were in this thing throughout, and it looked like it was getting, pretty shaky there when it was 21-20 at the half. Dallas seemed to start to grab the momentum there, but only 3 points total scored in the entire second half, and that belonged to the Eagles, and that pushed them to the 4-point advantage there over the Cowboys. But my initial thoughts were I thought the offense looked a lot more buttoned up for Dallas than I expected it, even though we knew that offense was going to be good. I thought Dak played really well. And this was without getting major contributions from George Pickens. So it was really about navigating, a really difficult defense in Philadelphia. Now, of course, this was aided by just a completely dumbfounding moment before the first snap
You
was even.
buried the lead. You buried the lead, Dan.
Yeah, seriously, Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott, getting ejected from the game before he even took a snap, played a snap in this game. Obviously, their biggest defensive piece and the biggest thing that kind of makes that engine run on the defensive side being the anchor there along the defensive line. So the Cowboys ran the football really well. And on the defensive side, the Cowboys were able to hold Saquon Barkley to a pretty modest rushing total as well. So that was a surprising element of it all. On top of that, you had one target for A.J. Brown in this game. So it's kind of an unorthodox, opening to the season for both of these teams. But at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts was efficient and they win the game 24-20. And that's all that matters. So Philly 1-0 on the season, but Dallas an encouraging 0-1.
My first bad bet of the season, I had the over 48.5. And at halftime, I was like, this is the easiest bet. I'm going to never lose a bet this year.
Yeah.
And so for the Lightning to kill that bet, I'll never forgive Mother Nature for doing that. Mother Nature owes me $22. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So screw you, Mother Nature, for doing that. And I will say, Dan, I think a couple of things, everything you mentioned, I agree with. I think it's worse with the AJ Brown thing because him and Smith together combined for 4 catches for 24 yards. So the Eagles win a game in which they don't even feature 2 of their top 3 offensive weapons. Jalen Hurts also led them in rushing yards with 62. Not a great sign for the offensive line. And it got dinged up Dickerson and some people throughout that game. So I think Philly surviving at home with all the emotion of getting the rings and the Cowboys coming out and giving them their best shot. I wonder if that is the best shot of the Cowboys, or is this how the Cowboys going to play all year long? It feels to me like
that's fair.
They went all in for this game. CeeDee Lamb had 13 targets, only 7 catches. He really let the team down. You look at the box score, say 7 catches, 110 yards.
Especially at the end of the game there with 2 very, very bad drops.
And so Dak leaning on CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb not really coming up big in the way that they need him to be big.
I think we may have lost Mark. At least I did on my end. So we'll try and hopefully get Mark back as soon as possible. But no, I agree with that sentiment, especially with the CD point, 7 catches, 110 yards. You're thinking that's a great game, and it was for many reasons. But on the flip side, CD was just there we go. Okay, hey, you cut out for me.
Cut out for me, so I've just been talking for the last 2 minute and a half, and you've been talking, which I hope both of our talking gets put in the playback, and that's the Phillies and Cowboys.
What a way to kick off the season here on the Football Lounge.
I was basically just saying I agree with everything you were saying. I thought Sanders' fumble was a key moment of the game. That is something that really just it killed the Cowboys' last kind of ditch effort. They got to get Saquon going. 18 rushes, 60 yards. That's not good enough for this team as far as what they want to be. You don't want to see Jalen Hurts leading the Eagles in rushing. That needs to be Saquon for the next 16 of the next 17 games if they want to achieve the Super Bowl aspirations they have for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like Will Shipley, the backup running back, who obviously is not going to get much involvement. It seemed like he was a little dinged up, and then what ensued over the last 24 hours is the Eagles went and traded for Tank Bigsby from the Jacksonville Jaguars, a talented kind of bruiser running back, I think, and they got him for fairly cheap. I think it was 2 late round picks to get this guy. So I think that says, a couple things. I think that says that Jacksonville is really high on their rookie running back, Bielshal Tootin, as well as Travis Etienne. And then on the flip side, it tells me that I think the Eagles are either a little concerned about Will Shipley as the backup and also maybe not super confident in A.J. Dillon, who they recently brought in too. So they're fortifying their backfield, but this is what good teams do. Good teams strike before they actually have to, right? And that's what I think separates sometimes the good teams from the bad, is being proactive and kind of forecasting holes before they become glaring, and that's a Howie Roseman special.
It's also a classic week one realization, right? There was a lot of talk, like I think in average draft position, Bigsby and Etienne were going like in the same round. Like you're looking at them both in like the 8th round, and clearly Etienne is the feature back, and so the Eagles took advantage of that, saying, "Hey, we notice a guy we think we're high on is not getting the lion's share. You clearly don't value him. Let's try to steal more." So I think that is a positive move. Good win for the Eagles. 1-0. Cowboys, I think the question just remains, is this how they're going to play everyone, or is this how they were playing when they just went all in, and is it not going to be this consistent effort for the remainder of the season? We'll wait to see.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that wasn't the only primetime game prior to Sunday. We had a game on Friday as well. But before we dive into that, just a quick reminder, we are a part of the For Frequency Sake podcast network, the flagship show for Fantasy Sake QC, kicked off this past week, and you can catch that every Sunday, an hour before kickoff. So for any of those last-minute lineup instructions or advice, tune into that. And we've got plenty of other shows across the entire network, from wrestling to racing, baseball, basketball, you name it. So please go check it out on social. You can follow us at FB Lounge Pod. And if you're watching on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing. That helps push us out there a little bit more to fans during the NFL season to watch this stream. All right, diving into Friday, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Believe the first game there, correct?
No, they played last year.
They did play last year.
The Eagles and the Packers.
Packers. There we go. Yep. Okay. So there we go. Second game, or maybe third. I don't know. But
it actually is not bad because the time zone isn't crazy. It's only a couple hours ahead versus going over to England or the UK or Europe. It's multiple hours ahead. So it wouldn't shock me if you continue to see games in Brazil for that reason.
And leave it up to the NFL to pick some, appealing games to start off the NFL season. First, the divisional rivals, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and then Friday, Kansas City Chiefs defending AFC champions, taking on division rival Los Angeles Chargers, who were already banged up along the offensive line. We knew that. A little banged up in their backfield, too, with Najee Harris really not getting much playing time at all or practice time in training camp coming into this game. But, Mark, they out-physicaled the Kansas City Chiefs throughout this game. I thought this one in particular was much more of like we knew both teams are physical at the lines of scrimmage, right? But this was much more of a slugfest than I think I even anticipated, and in a different way than we're used to seeing. The Chargers, it wasn't like they were ground and pounding like crazy. No. They were ripping off kind of like chunk big runs, but this was the Justin Herbert show. They unleashed him in the air, but it was more about that offensive line, holding up very well, I thought, against this Kansas City front overall. So I thought that was encouraging. Joe Alt looked very comfortable there at left tackle. On the flip side, Kansas City was hitting their stride early, right? And we saw Travis Kelce look like the Travis Kelce of old at times throughout this game, and finding Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, but then Xavier Worthy goes down and gets hurt. I think the big thing for me here was that Kansas City was able to run the football, even if it wasn't necessarily as efficient last year. They were able to run with volume because Patrick Mahomes was able to convert the third downs, and then they would just rip off, 3-yard gains on the ground. They didn't really even get, much great volume, I thought, in the ground game. If you look in the stats, they averaged 5.8 yards per carry. To me, watching the game, it certainly didn't feel like that. There were a couple big runs here and some scrambles from Mahomes, who was their leading rusher. I think that they're going to need a lot more from Pacheco and Kareem Hunt if they expect to, win 12, 13 games this season, because, Mark, 10 carries between the two, to me, is not going to cut it, especially when you're taking on, a division rival who, can slice and dice you with Justin Herbert.
10 carries for only 41 yards. And Dan, that is 16 yards less than Mahomes rushed for himself on only 6 carries. So, yeah, it's not great. It's really not great. And there was a person on this show who said the Kansas City backfield was one of the bottom 5 backfields in the NFL. And I just think they needed to be able to rush the ball, especially because the game was never 27-3 and then the Chiefs clawed back, right? It was a slugfest.
Yeah, they needed
And so
tempo.
And so they never committed to the run, and the run didn't pay them any dividends. It led to Mahomes having to throw the ball 39 times. And he had Worthy get injured on that, second play of the game, first drive. And then you could just tell this is a team that's missing Rashee Rice. And they're like, all right, well, we can patch it together with Worthy and Brown, kind of small gadget guys, plus the big body Kelsey and Noah Gray. Like, we'll be fine. Then Worthy goes out. Hollywood Brown ended up with 16 targets. So it's like Mahomes didn't trust anyone else in that wide receiver room at all.
And Juju's fine, but he's not. He's
a 10-yard out guy, big body, and he's just get him in front of a linebacker or in front of a corner, and he'll use his body to make a catch. He's not anything more than that. So the Chiefs, I'm not panicking if I'm the Chiefs at all. It sucks to start off 0-1. It sucks to start off 0-1 in division, like we'll talk about with a lot of other teams, the Lions, the Bears. There's a lot of teams who started off 0-1 in their division. It's not great, but I'm not panicking if I'm Kansas City. Get Worthy healthy. You're going to get Rice back. The bummer is it looks like this is not the 15-win Chiefs. And part of that is because, as Andy, who's a diehard Chiefs fan, part of that is because the Chargers looked really good. A lot of people were, kind of reminiscing on the Chargers' demise because of Rashawn Slater. Listen, they went all in with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert was fantastic. He needed a game like this in prime time, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also ran the ball for 32 yards. This Chargers team, if they play like this, they are going to be an absolute force in the AFC West. The AFC West will be up for grabs if the Chargers play like this. And I
was super surprised. I thought it was genius by Jim Harbaugh because he came into this game knowing exactly how Kansas City was going to defend them. And he said, I'm not tied to doing one style of football. We have Justin Herbert. I've now had a full season.
Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen, and Lam McConkey. The three of them looked like maybe one of the top 5 wide receiver cores in the NFL, and you wouldn't have said that 72, 4 days ago, whatever exactly. It is, 100 hours ago. So it was really impressive win from the Chargers.
Really important win for them too. Like, get off on the right foot and kind of establish that rhythm, because we saw the efficiency from Justin Herbert last year, but the last taste in his mouth was a 4 interception game, in the playoffs. Like, now to actually be able to come back, start this season with a win over the Chiefs and to do it in really impressive fashion, I think bodes well for them moving forward.
Really quick, Dan, we don't do it on our show, but we do it with the network of power rankings, and the network puts it out. The Chargers, to me, they have to be in the top 8. I mean, like, that was an impressive win against an impressive opponent. I don't think I would have had the Chargers in my top 10 to start the season, but I think now you have to say to yourself, the Chargers are technically, this was a home game for them too, which is such a win, right? Because you gave up a home game to do this if you're the Chargers. So to seal it with a win too, that feels really good, because they're still going to have to go to Kansas City at some point this year.
After that game, we were unfortunately made to suffer through an entire day of no football, NFL football on Saturday. But we came back on Sunday with the 1 o'clock or noon slate for you Central Time Zone folks. Buccaneers at the Falcons pull off a 23-20 narrow victory. It was the rookie Emeka Egbuka that really stole the headlines here with 2 touchdowns for the rookie. And Michael Penix overall looked pretty good. Drake London gets hurt in this game, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. They're expecting just a week or two, at least from what I saw, where the initial prognosis there for a shoulder injury. Bijan Robinson has 100 yards through the air as well and a touchdown. So, the big thing that stood out to me, Mark, and it's something we always talk about, Penix, who we can basically say is a rookie. He hasn't played 17 games yet. Threw 42 times in this game. Now, granted, yes, he was 27 to 42, almost 300 yards, had a touchdown, like played fairly well. You never want 42 pass attempts from a young quarterback.
From a quarterback.
For any quarterback. But certainly, a young one in this offense that has Bijan Robinson and some talented running backs. So, that was a big thing there. Buccaneers did feel in control for, a good portion of the game outside of that first quarter. They scored 10 in the second quarter and then, put up a touchdown coming out of the half and kind of were able to hang on there. Baker Mayfield, was right back to the Baker Mayfield of last year. But were you at all concerned that it was only a 3-point victory for the Bucs? Like, do you think it was more about the Falcons looking better than you thought, or just kind of week one random stuff?
I'm not concerned about the Bucs on the road in a division game to start the season. Yeah, of course you're going to come out a little rusty. It's a new offensive coordinator. Baker wasn't perfect, but Baker had three touchdowns. Yeah. And Baker was really good at finding Egbuka, and Baker was also their leading rusher, 39 yards. So
I'm seeing a theme start here. These first three games we're talking about quarterbacks leading rushers.
And we'll talk about it more throughout this game. You've got to find a way to get Bucky Irving going. 14 carries, 37 yards. That would be the thing. Like, okay, if I'm a Bucs fan in a win, I'm happy on the road against a divisional opponent. We got to find a way, though, to get that going. And if you are an NFL analyst, right, a week ago, you would say, well, Atlanta's got one of the top 5 backfields in the NFL. Algier and Bijan. Algier and Bijan combined for 22 carries and 48 yards. Bijan, yes, he had the 6 catches, 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Then if you're a fantasy owner, you're thanking God for that, because 12 carries versus 42 pass attempts for Penix Jr. And Penix was very good. I give him a ton of credit. He played well, but again, it just didn't feel like that's the game plan you want at home against a division rival. Atlanta 0-1. And again, like we just talked about it with the previous 2 matchups, you're a division rival starting 0-1. It hurts. They lose at home. The Cowboys lost on the road, and the Chiefs technically lost on the road. So an even more painful win for Atlanta fans. If I'm a Bucs fan, I'm not complaining. Get Bucky Irving going. Egbuka is a star in the making. You'll love to see that. Baker was solid, and the Bucs are 1-0 with a divisional win, and they still get to play Atlanta again at home later in the year.
Yep, absolutely. And it's always good to start 1-0, and I certainly felt good. I echo those sentiments about Baker. Like I still feel really good about Baker, and he can win in a variety of ways. And yeah, I showed it with the legs too. I mean, this guy might be still one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the NFL, despite what he did last year and the year prior. Let's go to the Bengals at the Browns. Really weird game. Joe Flacco didn't look particularly sharp. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, the entire offense didn't look particularly sharp in this game. In fact, Mark, the Browns held the Bengals to 7 yards in the second half.
Yeah, no scoring in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the Bengals still won the game, 17-16. That's the fewest yards ever by a winning team in the second half in at least the last 25 years. So
it's
in the 2000s, awesome no team has won a game after putting up fewer than 10 yards in the second half. Wild stat, but that just goes to show what kind of turmoil this Browns offense is in.
Well, listen, Dan, I thought Joe Burrow said it best after the game. We did not win these games last year. They won this game this year.
That's fair.
And so, while yes, I can sit here and I can be critical and saying blah, 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 blah.
The defense held the Browns to 16 points. You could say, hey, that's all right.
Going in a week ago, we would say the Bengals are going to have to win shootouts and Godspeed to them. They won a 17-16 game against a divisional opponent. Like that's really kudos to the Bengals. I'm not panicking if I'm the Bengals. And if I'm the Browns, I think one of the things, listen, Myles Garrett, 2 sacks, big one in the fourth quarter. He is a Lamborghini, being parked, in a dilapidated shed there in Cleveland right now. for Cleveland, you gotta feel like this is this season is it's a weird one, right? It's not about the winning. They're in that mode. It's about figuring out what's going on with your quarterbacks. I thought Flacco played really well, but again, they asked him to throw 45 times. You don't want that from Joe Flacco. And Dan, listen, he Judy dropped a big ball late. Both of his INTs were tipped or / drop balls. And listen, the Browns missed a 36-yarder with their young kicker, 2:22 left in the fourth quarter. That's the game. You know what I mean? You played well enough to beat the Bengals, but credit to the Bengals for actually winning this ugly, ugly game. I fully expect Joe Burrow to not throw for 113 yards or less again this season. I think they're going to get it going. First game jitters. They get a win. Only Joe Burrow's second win in the month of September in his NFL career, which is a wild, wild stat. And so I think this is a big step forward for the Bengals.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you play that way and you come away with a win. You'll take that 1,000 times and you just move on to the next one. And this is going to be the worst the Bengals offense looks probably all season. I think we would agree. So to be able to win with that type of performance is encouraging nonetheless. The Colts at home destroy the Miami Dolphins. Now, maybe this wasn't as much of a surprise as some may have thought early on because, neither of us were particularly high on the Dolphins. I know you were really low on the Dolphins. So you look, very correct.
I did bet them to win this game, though. So that was dumb.
Yeah. So, I mean,
because I was really low on the Colts, if you remember.
Exactly.
Like 3-win team low on the Colts. So
it's bizarre. I didn't expect them ever to win in this fashion by 25 points. That sounded crazy. This was also their first home opener that they've won in a really long time.
I think like 2012.
Yeah. Yeah. So over a decade. Danny Dimes
it's great.
What can he say? 22 of 29, 272 yards, efficient, had the touchdown, looked good with his legs. They got 2 touchdowns rushing. 2 touchdowns rushing. Michael Pittman got involved. Josh Downs, Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end, had a really nice game. Looks like a solid piece. Shane Steichen clearly made the right choice by going with Daniel Jones. Again, I'm tempering any sort of takeaways from this game of being, the Colts are a force now in the division. But I am keeping my eyes peeled, and I'm saying I want to see a little bit more. I want to see how Daniel Jones continues to evolve with this offense. Totally. Maybe they're not going to have the floor that I projected at the beginning of the year. I believe I had them winning 6 games this season. Already got that one in the bank. To me, this game was more about what appears to be, without trying to sound hyperbolic, because you really don't want to make any grand statements after just week 1. It does seem like the Miami Dolphins are just in complete disarray, because the Colts defense is not a bad defense, but I mean, they made the Dolphins look like JV football.
The Dolphins need to trade Tyreek Hill immediately. Like they, and for 2 main reasons. Number one, you are not winning anything this year, right? Like you're not winning a Super Bowl. You can maybe compete for a wild card spot. So you're not the Bills. Like you're not winning your division.
Yeah, but do you think Mike McDaniel is fighting for his job?
He is fighting for his job, but I also think that's why he should trade Tyreek Hill, because clearly it could be one of those addition by subtraction type moments, right? Like there maybe feels like that pressure. And I don't blame Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is still at the very end of his prime and doesn't want to be saddled with this BS. Listen, I'm shocked by the result. I shouldn't be. It was the Jim Irsay tribute game. Dumb for me. The roof was open. Dumb. Like I should have known. Jim Irsay tribute game. I should have known. My bad, everyone.
They probably had extra juice for sure coming in.
But Miami clearly is not like nothing's going well. And if I'm Miami, can I get a second round pick for Tyreek Hill? Can I press the Chiefs to give me a second round pick for Tyreek Hill? Can I press another team that's maybe desperate for a weapon? I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure there is one that say, hey, give me a second round pick and a player right now. I think there's teams out there already that would do that. And I think Tyreek would be more of a model citizen if he found himself somewhere. So I think that's truly where you're at. And I think if Miami does something like that, it extends the Mike McDaniel's tenure for at least the year to where maybe he's not fired this year. Because right now he's like number one guy get fired. It was bad. Tua looked like shit before he was benched or / injured. I don't know exactly how that went down. I think it was more just the game's out of reach. We're going to bench him and put Zach Wilson in. But he was bad. I mean, missing guys. He looked slow in the pocket. Dak looked energetic and svelte. Tua looked slower and kind of heavy-footed in the pocket.
I agree.
14 of 23, 114 yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions. The first interception was a giant overthrow. So it's not like the Joe Flacco interceptions where I can justify those 2 interceptions. Tua's I can't. Like, it just wasn't good. And maybe he was feeling pressure, but listen, overall, this Colts team, I don't know what to think of it. The Saints, remember, were 2-0 and setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I was wrong about the Colts, but right now, if you're Indianapolis, this is now one of the danger teams in the AFC. Is like, I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl. I don't even know if they'll win that division, but I do know that it's going to be a lot of like you circled them as a W. Now you're circling them as like, oh shit, what do I got to deal with in Indy here?
Yeah. Trap game team for sure. The Raiders go on the road to the New England Patriots. They win 20-13 in New England. This is a game, Mark, that I think people are overreacting to personally. I think people are like, oh yeah, look at Geno, threw for 362 yards. He's going to be really good and dominate this year. And then on the flip side, people are like, oh, Drake May, he's not the guy. And the Patriots stunk this one up. Look, I think this was a fairly predictable game overall. I think the Patriots, as I said, in the preseason predictions, the Patriots are going to be a team that's kind of like a tough out, but they don't have enough, reinforcements and dudes on this team, to win more than 6 games. And that's, I truly feel that that's what this team looked like. I thought at times Drake May looked good and looked like he could, lead this team. At other points, it looked like, they were overmatched. And I think, Geno and Ashton Genty and, the rest, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer even looked good. Like, yeah, Pete Carroll's there. They have guys on that offense. Like, it's not like they put up 40 points. They put up 20. Geno threw a lot of yards and they look good. Like, give them credit. The Raiders won this game on the road. That's not easy to do to win in Gillette. But I don't know. I just feel like people are making too much of this game.
I think I don't know if they're making too much. But I will say I think to me it's solidified. Feel like a lot of people
are hating on Drake right now, and I'm dude,
listen, I don't think he got much help. His coach asked him to throw the ball 46 times.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, he's another one who hasn't even started 17 games yet in the NFL. And so he did not get any favors. I thought, again, if you're the Patriots and you give up only 20 points at home, you should feel like we should at least win that game, right? Like that with this season, with this schedule, to me, what I will say is a lot of people like myself had the Patriots feeling like because the schedule is so weak, maybe this could be an 8-9 win team. I think what this game solidified is maybe the Patriots are more what you predicted, that 6-win team. And maybe the Raiders could actually be that sneaky 8-win team.
8-9, yeah.
As opposed to the 6-win team we predicted them to be. I will say you got to get Genty going. 19 carries, 38 yards. It's not a great clip. Both teams had 4 sacks. Harold Landry, the third, 2.5 sacks himself for the Patriots. He played really well. I think that Stephon Diggs was disappointing in his debut. Didn't feel like the number one guy that Drake May could just go to. In fact, he went to what's his name, Boat or Booty.
Kayshon Boutte. Yeah,
Kayshon Boutte even more. He leaned on that. I'm not panicking if I'm either team. I'm not overly celebrating if I'm the Raiders, but I think if you are if you had that Patriots to sneak into the wild card ticket, bet, you might be feeling a little bit of heat because of this one.
Yeah, no doubt. Another quarterback that threw the ball 46 times, Spencer Rattler for the New Orleans Saints.
Absolutely dumb.
Saints looked bad. The Cardinals win 20-13. Kyler Murray really efficient in this game. I thought he played very well.
He did.
Only 163 yards through the air, but 2 touchdowns.
Well, he was shitting his brains out. He was sick before the game. Apparently, he had to ask the trainers, like, he should have an injury report because he talked to the trainers. And then they had to explain, like, well, what's wrong with him? Well, he's literally like he's pooping his brains out. Like he's like,
yeah.
And because you talk to the trainers, we have to like report it. But I'm with you. 21 of 29. I know only 163 yards. He was taking what they were giving him, 2 touchdowns. And with James Conner only rushing for 39 yards and 12 attempts, they relied on just this kind of quick passing game to move the ball. And
like 30 guys caught passes.
Yeah. Now, Dan, this game was tied 10-10 with like 4:40 left in the second. And that is when you had a really fantastic drive from Kyler Murray, the shovel pass touchdown to Conner. He goes on a 4-minute basically drive. Not like a 2-minute offense, 4-minute offense. They go up 17-10 at half. And that was the game. It was like, hey, the Cardinals put together the key drive, and he was really good in the key drive on the road against the Saints defense that is their better unit. Rattler, again, 46 times. Kamara was heavily involved. I will say this, the most disgusting thing I saw on the field was not Spencer Rattler, was not the play calling, it was the uniforms. I don't know what the hell the Saints.
Really? I thought they were cool.
No, they looked like University of Central Florida. I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I did not like it. I did not like it, Sam. I do not like green eggs and ham. And Marvin Harrison Jr., this was a positive showing.
Yeah.
5 catches, 71 yards, the touchdown. He felt like the number one. Positive vibes to the Cardinals, about what we felt and expected for the Saints.
Yep, exactly. All right, Steelers go on the road. Game of the week in terms of definitely that afternoon slate.
It was awesome.
At the Jets, Aaron Rodgers against Justin Fields, 2 quarterbacks swapping teams from last year. Aaron Rodgers throws 4 touchdown passes. Justin Fields looked incredible, and the Steelers end up prevailing 34-32 thanks to a 60-yard field goal from Chris Boswell late in the fourth quarter to put them up and kind of seal that. Jalen Ramsey with an incredible hit on Garrett Wilson to end the Jets' hopes there on the final drive. Biggest takeaway for me, Mark, was I was thinking of the Michael Scott quote of Steve Carell with my how the turntables, because it wasn't the Steelers having just a terrible offensive production and needing the defense to bail them out. It was the offense bailing out the defense in this game for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense looked really bad, I thought, for the majority of the game. They got run on heavily. So kudos to the Jets' offensive line that they had to patchwork together after the Elijah Vera Tucker injury, among others. Breece Hall, Justin Fields, Braylon Allen even had a couple nice runs in there. And Justin Fields just commanded that offense. So I think a lot of credit needs to go to Aaron Glenn, needs to go to Justin Fields. That might be his best game as a pro. And,
it is his best game as a pro.
It was really, really impressive. And he even said after the game, hey, look how much money they put into that defense and how much they invested in it. And we put up 32. Like, I'm happy with the production that we put out there.
The Jets scored 32 points at home. You've got to win that game. Like, it's not 100%. On Justin Fields. And it's not like they scored 32 points with 2 defensive touchdowns and a punt return. No. I was really impressed with Justin Fields. But my thing with Justin Fields is always is like it's not going to last. Look at the hits he takes. He's a violent runner. When you watch Lamar, when you watch Jane Daniels, they are smooth runners. He is a violent runner, but he's not a violent runner.
He's huge.
Like
he's a big guy.
He's not like Josh Allen though. Is a violent runner. He's like a runner, like I'm a running back, and yet it's ticky tacky. It's a toe, it's an ankle, it's a thumb. So good luck to the Jets as far as that all goes. Dan, I've got to ask though. The Jets led 19-10 with under 3 in the second quarter. Rodgers, that was an incredible 2-minute drive.
Yeah, really
to get
good.
it to 19-17. But you've got to be concerned about the defense. Like if I'm a Steelers fan, I just kept writing my notes, just like, what is going on defensively? You're used to running quarterbacks. You play Lamar Jackson well usually.
Yeah.
It felt like they just got smacked around, and I was shocked by how bad the defense was for the Steelers.
I don't want to make excuses because it was bad. It's not that it's not concerning, but if the script was flipped and we won because our defense put up 25 points and our offense, I would be much more concerned.
Valid, very valid.
In that, because I'm confident enough in the makeup of this defense that it will turn things around and get better. And it's not like the Jets don't have weapons. I mean, Fields is a legit weapon. Breece Hall's really talented.
His deep ball to Wilson for the touchdown, that was maybe one of Justin throws, his top 5 throws of his career.
So I chalk it up to a few things. I chalk it up to they're very thin at the D line, and I was concerned that they didn't really address that much outside of drafting Derek Harmon, who was injured and not available for this game, of course, in the first round. That's tough when you don't have your blue chip guy. So they had to dive deep into their depth. On top of it, Cam Hayward, while he practiced, he really didn't see much at all. No preseason game action, none of that. So you'd expect him to be a little slow at age 35 or whatever he is, in his first game of the season. So I think all of that hurt. And then they didn't have, depth at outside edge rusher. So Highsmith and Watt had to play on 99% of the snaps. So it's just, fatigue sets in. And then on top of all of that, Mark, you've got like 5 new guys on that defense. So communication, I am betting on that getting better. Now, right. I'm still concerned because last year they had a really good defense that at the end of the year, the last 5 games, they got run all over. They got crushed. So hopefully when Derek Harmon comes back, which should be in like a couple weeks to start, we're hoping that this rookie can really, do wonders for that defensive line and help improve the depth there and help them stop the run. But they definitely need to do that. On the flip side, extremely encouraged by how this offense looked under Aaron Rodgers. Just watching the passing chart and seeing the middle of the field represented there is something very foreign to us.
He found the tight ends too.
He got everybody involved in this game.
Austin the third. You might have a wide receiver number 2.
He might have a legit number 2.
He looked like Tyler Lockett next to DK Metcalf.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, tons of encouraging parts there. They didn't run the ball well, so that's discouraging. But Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns, able to overcome things. He had a 136 quarterback rating, or passer rating, I should say. That is the highest passer rating of a Steelers quarterback since 2018. So when I talked about preseason, this truly feeling like it was the best positioning that we've had since 2018-19 Ben.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. And so if that can sustain, I think we're feeling pretty good.
He was sacked 4 times, so that's not great. And as you mentioned, Warren, 11 carries, 37 yards. It's like that.
I mean, they didn't put him on the field much. Kenny Gainwell out-snapped Jaylen Warren. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It felt weird. I agree. It felt weird. I will say this. Both the Jets and the Bears, they both at times felt a lot like Detroit 2 years ago when it was like they barely missed the playoffs, but they beat Green Bay at the end of the year where you're like, they have things something's brewing. The Jets ran 39 times, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns. That feels like a Lions stat from last year.
Yeah.
So credit to them for having a true identity. I worry about the Jets' longevity with being this competitive. And I am concerned a little bit about that offensive line / run game for Pittsburgh. I agree with you. I think the defense will improve, but it certainly was alarming. We thought would be their best unit. It was alarming to see them bad at the start of the year. And then Aaron, it'll be, can he keep this pace the rest of the year? Because it was a great pace.
And the special teams fumble recovery, I mean, that ended up being the difference in this game. That changed the tide for sure. The Giants go on the road, don't look good with Russell Wilson at quarterback. Commanders win 21-6. Nobody lit up the scoreboard in this game, but Jaden Daniels looked efficient. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the rookie, had 82 yards on 10 carries. Bill, excuse me.
Oh, Bill.
Bill.
I thought he went by Bob, but it is
no. He goes Bill. And Deebo Samuel, looking like the Deebo Samuel of old. Brian Daboll did commit to Russell Wilson being the starting quarterback this upcoming week. They gotta, if it's looking like this for a couple weeks more, Mark, they gotta go with Jackson Dart.
Russell Wilson needs to retire. I mean, he's a bummer. Like, he's not even fun like Flacco. Flacco, it's like, whoa, and there's moments, and Flacco was let down by his receivers. I certainly don't think Flacco's gonna last the year, meaning like I don't think he can keep that pace. Just because at an age, certainly like the nicks and the bruises like will add up compared to a good 25-year-old guy. But Russell it's just not good. It's not efficient. Nothing of it was fun. 17 of 37, 168 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Malik Neighbors seemed frustrated. Yeah. Now, what I will say about this is I was shocked that the Giants defense didn't cause more havoc. That front seven you'd think was one of the best in football, only 2 sacks. If I'm Washington, I feel very similar to how the Bucs feel and to how the Vikings felt. Like, hey, we didn't play a great game, but we won a divisional game on the road. 12 penalties for Washington. Jaden was fine. It was what we expect from Jaden Daniels, over 200 yards, a touchdown, 68 yards rushing. Really nothing much else to say except he's got to get that Terry McLaurin connection going. It was the Deebo Samuel show. Terry only 2 catches, 27 yards. He missed him.
It's a weird week for the great wide receivers.
Yes.
Malik Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown,
Brian Thomas
coming up.
And it looked like Terry was off, not necessarily Jaden was off. So I think that'll get going and that'll get better. But yeah, I'm done with Russell Wilson. And if I was, listen, the Giants, no identity. Scatterbo and Tracy, 12 carries combined, 21 yards. No identity.
No, they need to figure out what they are offensively. And honestly, Brian Daboll, he's got to wear some of that. I mean, you have to figure something out. Like, and I know that they haven't had the quarterback of the future in the building, but how many?
You do now. You think Jackson Dart, three straight opening days for the Giants, 6 points or less. That hasn't been seen in the NFL since the 40s, since we were dropping bombs.
That's crazy. What
Japan.
A stat.
I mean, it's bad.
The Jacksonville Jaguars opened up the season with a win. Liam Cohen, I think I wrote it down here. Liam Cohen, the first head coach in franchise history to win his NFL debut. So a nice start for him.
Really? That's wild.
Yeah. In franchise history, but they've had a lot of head coaches there in Jacksonville over the last 30 plus years. The Carolina Panthers were a soft landing spot, relatively speaking, and they were at home, but 26-10 victory here. All of the hype and excitement about the Carolina Panthers trying to carry over that momentum from last year definitely was a dud in this game. Bryce Young, couple really bad interceptions.
So bad. Him and Tua, they looked bad.
They did. It's just did not look good. I thought the Jaguars didn't really look great either, but ETN broke off some really big runs, had close to a career day.
Yeah.
And so that was encouraging. 200 yards on the ground for the Jags as a team. Brian Thomas Jr., the only rushing touchdown, ironically enough, in there. But yeah, he only had 1 catch. Trevor Lawrence really spread it around to a lot of different guys, but Travis Hunter clearly much more of a focal point on offense, at least early in the season here.
He's a wide receiver.
So he's going to be a wide receiver, and it makes sense. That's where all the money's at. That's, I'm sure, where he would lobby to be as well. But they'll insert him in there and in various packages. But we didn't see any of the big Travis Hunter plays that we were expecting.
Listen,
but I mean, overall, hey, Trevor didn't really make any like brutal mistakes. He had the one pick. So I mean, okay day for Jacksonville. But
again, if I'm the Jags, I take this 10 times out of 10. Like the weird cross conference, but not far travel, weird kind of game against the Panthers. Panthers, a lot of hype. Panthers laid an absolute egg. Nothing looked great. 18 of 35 for Bryce Young. Tet McMillan, 5 catches, 68 yards. He looks like we could become a true number one. Not only 2 interceptions for Bryce Young, but the fumble late in the second quarter as well. You're turning the ball over way too much. Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter combined 7 for 44.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it. I don't know if that's on Trevor. I don't know if that's just on the defense. Listen, the Panthers defense, we expected them to take a step forward. 0 sacks on Trevor Lawrence on that reworked new offensive line for the Jags. Overall, if you're the Jags, you just got to be smiling. Just say, all right, we'll keep it moving. We'll take this W.
No doubt. The Broncos at home, 20-12 victory over Cam Ward and his Tennessee Titans. The rookie in his debut honestly looked pretty decent. He just doesn't really have much help there at all. Not from the offensive line and certainly not in the receiver room either. But Bo Nix and company didn't look very good either. This was a pretty sloppy game. One of those really weird, maybe you chalk it up to just being the first game of the season and people really needing to get going. But Bo Nix had 2 picks in this game. RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins were definitely the bright spots there for the Broncos, ripping off some really big runs and efficient on the ground. But other than that, really not much to speak of from Denver's side. And for Tennessee, it just looks bad. I think Cam Ward's going to be fine, but it looked bad.
13 penalties for the Titans. He didn't get much help. But you can see the sparks, right? Like it felt a lot like kind of like a Caleb Williams game last year where you're like, oh, there's something. And then there's a lot of like, ooh, but there's something. Like you can see why they were projected as a number 1 pick and taken as number 1 pick. Listen, I wrote this about Bo Nix. 40 passing attempts, 176 yards. At the end of the first quarter, that interception was ugly. The TD throw to Sutton.
He fumbled too. I forgot.
Yeah, the TD throw to Sutton in the second was beautiful, and then the pick to start the third quarter, ugly. So it feels a lot like the way Bo Nix started last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was an ugly start. We'll see if he can turn it around. Otherwise, you had to win this game if you're the Broncos because it's one of those. Your circle is a dub. They got it done. I'm not going to be too critical, but it was a shaky start offensively.
49ers win the divisional game on the road against the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold and company. Darnold, no touchdowns, no picks either, but not much on the ground from Seattle. Jackson Smith and Jigba was like the lone piece of that offense. Brock Purdy, on the other hand, 2 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey had a really nice day for fantasy, especially in the air, but not really efficient on the ground. And then George Kittle, who did catch a touchdown in this game, left with a hamstring injury. Really unfortunate to see. This guy's just got the injury bug, man, and he is now moving to IR, so he will be out at least for the next 4 weeks. So tough all around, but San Francisco 49ers leave with a victory. Brock Purdy now, we're looking at his injury on top of it too. So we may be seeing Mac Jones playing this upcoming game.
They should probably sit him because you are playing the Niners next week. Listen, this was a 10-10 game in the fourth quarter. And I thought that Seattle and San Francisco would be way closer as teams. And we saw that. Sloppy play from both teams. It looked like both teams really just trying to figure it out. Ricky Pearsall, really nice day, 4 catches, 108 yards. Late in the fourth quarter, Darnold leads the Seahawks on the game-winning field goal drive. They go up 13-10. Purdy has a really nice bomb to Pearsall in that following drive. That was a great throw. He's one of his best. I've seen him on tape, like confident, stepped into it, bomb, great catch. And then a dangerous touchdown throw, but he gets the touchdown throw. Niners win 17-13. Again, at home, Seattle losing a divisional game, that's tough. You'll take the win as the Niners, but neither team, I think, feels particularly great about their situation. I think it just proves that the NFC West is going to be a slugfest this year.
Yeah, a very interesting division to watch. The Green Bay Packers have to be feeling good about themselves. A
Yeah.
victory at home over the Detroit Lions, who did not look good, especially offensively, really kind of sluggish performance from Detroit. Meanwhile, Green Bay puts up 27. They win 27-13. Jordan Love, efficient in this game. They really seemed to be clicking on all cylinders, did Green Bay. I had them as a 9-win team. Got to admit, after watching that game, you're feeling like, wow, this could be a really solid team. But I also think this could be one of those early seasons where these two teams played each other week 8. We may be looking at different teams at that point in time. Lions just have to kind of get accustomed to brand new coordinators and understanding what that looks like in game.
The Lions dominated time of possession. Jared Goff was 31 of 39 for 225 yards and a touchdown and interception. Like, you look at the box score. I watched every minute of this game, but you look at the box score and you say to yourself, like, wait, it doesn't
where
make
to go
sense.
wrong. Yeah.
So when you actually watch the game, what do you see? You see a team in Green Bay that was aggressive on offensive defense and took the shots necessary to win the game. They played this game like Mike Tyson. They threw haymakers and they just were aggressive. And then you watch the Lions, and it's like they were out manhandled. They kind of got manhandled at times, which was weird to see. And they played a fairly conservative game. Gibbs had 10 receptions for 31 yards. As a team, the Lions
I saw that was the
rushes for 46 yards.
That was the fewest yards for somebody with 10 catches since the merger.
So, again, it was conservative dink and dunk. There was none of the Ben Johnson aggressive shots, trick plays. Let's get back in the game. I will say, if I'm Green Bay, the one thing I'll say about Green Bay, where was the number one wide receiver? Dobbs, Reed, Golden, all 2-3 catches. No one stood out as like, there's the guy. There's the number one. So Love was efficient, 16-22, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. It certainly feels like the Packers are going to be a force in the NFC. I don't know if I'm ready to say they're the number one team in the power rankings, though.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. Micah Parsons also seeing sparing time in this game, too.
Had a sack, had some pressure against Sewell. He played well.
The Rams beat the Texans 14-9. Really sloppy game. I don't know how much I can even say about this matchup. It was just it didn't look good, really, particularly on either side. But I guess you can say, hey, the Rams at least had the semblance of a run game with Kyren Williams at times, and Matt Stafford was efficient through the air and didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, I'll say this. Listen, Puka Nacua, 10 catches, 130 yards. He's not worried about Devontae Adams being there. He's still the guy.
Yeah.
Stafford looked completely healthy. That's the best thing about this game.
Yeah, biggest takeaway from the game.
You win the game. Yeah, it was ugly, but you win the game when you didn't really play at all in the preseason. So you knew it was going to be sloppy. You win the game. Your defense played well. Both defenses played well. And Stafford's 100% healthy. If I'm the Texans, and if I'm a Texans fan, my hand is hovering over the panic button. I'm not panicking because this is a really good Rams team. So you can say we lost to a team that's a Super Bowl contender. But God damn, you fire your offensive coordinator. You're supposed to revamp this offense. Nico Collins, 3 catches, 25 yards. He's your number one guy. Stroud was just fine, like 19-27, 180 yards, interception. Like where's the spark? Where's the pop? Chubb was okay, but it just didn't. Since the end of that rookie season for CJ Stroud and that playoff loss, every game has kind of looked like this all of last year and this year. Just kind of like, okay.
Fighting. Yeah.
But where is the explosiveness? Where's the spark? Where's the identity? Doesn't feel that way for Houston. They have a great defense, but a loss on the road to the Rams, I'm not panicking, but I'm concerned offensively.
We get to the Sunday night game. The Bills 41-40 win. Obviously, game of the week. Incredible game. And, the Bills end up getting that winning drive at the end, running down the clock, running out the kicker, Matt Prater, who just came to the building a few days prior.
Yeah.
And he kicks the winning field goal as time expires. And there you have it. Blow for blow. The Ravens had this game in the bag in the third quarter, and they gave this one away. And Derrick Henry fumbling, that was huge. I mean, that was obviously the momentum shift big time. Bills put up 22 points in the fourth quarter in this game to win it. And I know this might get a little bit in the weeds here, Mark, but I'm just curious because I'm assuming you saw this whole game, right? Or at least the ending sequence, where they trotted out the field goal unit to win the game. Did you see that? Did you watch it?
Yeah, okay, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think
because here's what I want to say about it.
Go ahead.
I'm curious if the Ravens should have done this. I was thinking it right when it happened. So the Ravens had one timeout, right? And the Bills knew that. So the Bills were like, we're going to run the ball and we're going to kneel it and wait till the clock runs out. They're going to use their timeouts, and then we'll have one more down to knee it and then rush the kicking unit out there. The play before the timeout, the Bills are running out there. They're going to take the knee, expect the Ravens to call the timeout, and gather and get ready. What if the Ravens instead chose not to call the timeout and kind of call the Bills' bluff? Because I was thinking that right away. The Bills didn't look prepared to trot the field goal unit out. So if I'm the Ravens, it's 35 seconds. You just took a knee. I'm not going to take my time out. You guys don't look prepared to run out and kick this field goal. I thought it could have been like a good gotcha moment and caught you with your pants down type of situation. And then the Bills are forced to, oh shoot, we don't have any timeouts. We were expecting them to take it. And now it's 20 seconds. Now we got to run our field goal unit out there last second and try to kick this thing. I thought that would have been much better because the next play, even when they knew what they were doing, they still didn't get the kickoff until 3 seconds to go. So I think that would have been interesting.
Dan, it's as simple as you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. It's a 4th and 2. Put the ball in
earlier. Yes.
You know what I mean? In that moment, but I agree. So I agree with you, everything. I just go back to the fact that it's
yeah, they played a little too conservative.
They played conservative. I mean, it's the same thing we'll talk about in the Bears here in a second. When you blow a lead like that in the fourth quarter, whether it's 17-6 or whether it's scoring 22 points in the fourth quarter like the Bills did, it comes down to the fact that your coaching staff and your offense, not your defense. People think, oh, you give up all those points, your defense stinks. Well, yes, there's something happened defensively, but usually the crux is the offense, right? The crux is you give them momentum back. You mentioned the fumble. I think the fourth and short, you have Derrick Henry, you have Lamar Jackson. Be aggressive. Just go win the football game, right? Don't punt. Don't be aggressive. And so, it comes down to the fact that we're going to have to start having real conversations in the next year or so. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are
remarkable.
How do you not say they're in the discussion for both of them as top 10 quarterbacks of all time? I mean, I know their numbers aren't anywhere near that, right? But what you're watching with your eyeballs, these are the two best regular season players in the NFL. Mahomes and I think Jalen Hurts are going to have something to say about what happens in the big games. And as far as football is a team sport, but Lamar and Josh Allen, when it just goes bar for bar, individual guys and what they're capable of, right now they are the number one and number two offense in a can. They are packaged offense. They are packaged weapons in and of themselves. Mahomes, I would say, would be the next guy on that list. I think Mahomes overall still is the better quarterback. What you're asking your quarterback to do week in, week out, and if all things are equal, but Lamar and Josh are just special. We were treated to it. It was an absolute treat. And I agree with you. I think it was a misfire by an otherwise really solid coaching staff and a really great head coach in Harbaugh, but it wasn't what you expect him to do. And then Josh went and won the football game for him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he put the team on his back. We've seen him put the superhero cape on plenty of
Coleman,
times.
Shakir, Kincaid, they get Cook going a little bit more. Obviously, Derrick Henry's still in his prime somehow. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a bad fumble. But what a game, Dan. What a game.
Yeah, incredible game.
Should have ended the weekend. We should have just ended the weekend there.
We should have. What a spark for the Bills going into week 2, but not so much for your Chicago Bears. Really disappointing loss. I will give you the floor to kind of discuss this one, but I will just say J.J. McCarthy looked completely overmatched the first half. He looked really overwhelmed, and I got to give him kudos for not letting that affect the entire game and still being able to seize the opportunity when the opportunity struck. On the flip side, the Bears lost this game. The Vikings didn't win it, in my view. The Bears gave this away. They played conservatively at times, and they also were just missing at a variety of spots. Caleb is going to want some throws back or some throws where he wish he went elsewhere, that there were some open guys. But I thought he played well overall, too. It was really just the Bears as a whole kind of just let Minnesota come back in this one. I got to say, it was really disappointing. And Cairo, you got to be able to boot it out of the end zone, man. Like a professional kicker should be able to do that at this point in time.
Well, yeah, there's a lot. I'll try to be concise here, and I wrote my thoughts into positive and negative, right? Obviously, Caleb Williams, 21 of 35, 210 yards, a touchdown. He was the leading rusher for the Bears. 6 carries, 58 yards, a touchdown. He is an athlete. He is explosive. You see why he's the number 1 pick at times, where his mobility in the pocket. Dan, the first drive, let's start with the positives. Here's all positives. First drive, positive. The Bears did not score a first drive touchdown last year. They did it with Ben Johnson. So what does that tell me, right? What I learned from that is that coaching matters. There's a coaching upgrade. There's a talent upgrade, because all of that means it goes into scoring on the first drive. The script works, and I think you saw it from Ben Johnson early, right? So there's all that's positive. He was only sacked twice. That's positive, because he was sacked 68 times. So you've already now, projection-wise, you went from 4 sacks a game to 2 sacks a game. And one of the sacks was late in the game when you're trying to make a lot happen. Overall, I thought he moved well in the pocket. He got the ball out efficiently, and I thought the pocket held up. So that is a positive. Very mobile, Caleb Williams. I mentioned that. Positive. Sideline throw. Cannon. Dart. On the move. Very positive. 8 different receivers caught a pass. Very positive. No Jalen Johnson. No Kyler Gordon. No TJ Edwards. 3 very crucial starters on defense, and yet your defense still played well most of the game. The only reason the dam broke for the defense late in the game is because you went punt, miss field goal, punt to start the second half.
Yeah.
That's going to wear on a defense, especially when they're missing 3 key starters. I also think defensively, though, without those key 3 starters, you got 3 sacks. Adeyingbo played well. Grady Jarrett.
Good game.
Dexter played well. So besides Sweat, the rest of the guys up front played really well. So a ton of positives. The negatives, obviously, I'm going to say this is a negative. Early in the game, you go for it on 4th down as opposed to kicking it when you could go up 10-3.
Yeah.
And you don't get it. I'm okay with that if then that is your MO. But then later in the game, you decide to kick it as opposed to going for it.
Right.
So
yeah.
What's your MO? What is your MO, right? So I didn't love that. 17 carries for 53 yards for Swift. That's not good on Swift. That's not good on the offensive line and the play design. I don't know who to blame exactly. I haven't totally broken down all 22. This is a really good Vikings defense. Maybe the best defense they're going to play for the next 6 weeks. was certainly the best defensive coordinator probably in football. There's a couple guys who would have to say something about that, but he's in the discussion. And so all of that's a factor, but overall, I expect more. I expected more from DeAndre Swift and this run game. That's a negative. 12 fucking penalties for 127 yards. That's on the quarterback. That's on the coach. Like,
yeah, the operation wasn't good, right?
Right. So if you cut those 12 penalties to 7 or 8 penalties, which is still too many, you probably win the game. There was obviously the phantom call on Wright, the tackle, that killed that drive, which led to the big third down, which led to the turnover, which led to the touchdown. It all spiraled from there. But again, you're not going to get every call to go your way. You're going to get a phantom hold call every once in a while. It's exemplified when you have 12 total penalties. Listen, Caleb missed 2 big throws to DJ Moore. He missed them. He missed 2 big throws. You got to make those throws. It's early in the season. I'm not panicking yet. Second half drives, I mentioned punt, miss field goal, punt, and then you score the touchdown. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. I leave this game feeling this. Kudos to the Vikings for stealing a game on the road. J.J. McCarthy does not scare me. I am not going, oh my God, I have to face J.J. McCarthy for the next 10 years. Not scared. J.J. McCarthy is a fine NFL quarterback. I think he can be a fine NFL quarterback. I don't think his ceiling is Caleb Williams. I don't think his ceiling is Jayden Daniels. I think his ceiling is Michael Penix. I don't think he's Drake May. I think his ceiling is less than Bo Nix. So I'm not terrified. What terrifies me is they have a hell of a fucking head football coach in Minnesota. And they have a general manager in the front office that evaluates talent really, really well.
That's the thing.
I think he's better. His ceiling's better than like a Kirk Cousins ceilings, right? Like it's like in that realm. So that scares me because that means they're capable of winning 10 games every year. That sucks for my organization that is historically fighting dysfunction. I feel good about my coach. I feel good about my quarterback. I feel good about the direction. I don't feel great about a lot. I don't feel great, except for the script. The script was great. The script was really great. Give me more script. Script your first 15 after halftime, because after halftime, it was punt, miss field goal, punt. And I need more script. Give me more script.
Yeah, exactly. As a debut for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, still knocking off the rust from the offseason clearly. But yeah, I'm not panicking with the Chicago Bears at all. And I still don't think that the Vikings are a high ceiling team this year. But I mean, yeah, got to give kudos to them being on the road, playing in Chicago, stealing a win, as you said. It is week 1, so we're not going to overreact or try not to underreact either to a lot of this. But a great grouping of games for sure. Excited to be back on the airwaves talking football, diagnosing real football games. And we've kicked things off in week 2 with the Commanders at the Packers on Thursday.
Yeah, the Bears and the Lions. One of those teams are going to start 0-2. I mean, there's a lot when you start looking at the matchups now, a lot at stake early in the year. And then, now we have to keep our eyes on teams like Indianapolis. Are they for real? Or is that an apparition? So Dan, can't wait to get back with you. I will say, check the power rankings from For Fantasy's Sake. You'll see where Dan and I think the teams are in the NFL. We'll give out our power rankings there. Hit us up on all social media, and we'll let you, if there's something you want us to touch on or something you want us to diagnose or something that you just want to talk ball with us. We love talking ball, and it feels good to be back.
Always good. It sure does. That'll be our sign off for today. We'll see you back for our week 2 recap.